Okay, everyone. Today I have the excellent, beneficial responsibility today of talking with Keir Hart, one of the co-founders of Flying Pigs Designs. He's been a mechanical designer for over 10 years now, and he accepted to be on the show today to speak on industrial design, and product development. And Keir, welcome.
Good to be here.
Good to be here. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah. So I know you have a very busy week, very busy schedule, and I know you have a whole shop to attend to and a whole group of people. So I'm gonna go in and kind of start with the early on question. If you could tell us a little bit an intro about Flying Pig Designs.
Yeah, sure. So I started Flying Pig Designs roughly about 10 years ago. Been doing mechanical engineering in one way, shape, or form for almost 20 years at this point. And I really just started the company as a side gig just to make a little extra money. And then about a year of that, had to make the decision of, well, am I going to do this full time or am I going to, go work for somebody else? And decided to do this, and kind of been going gangbusters ever since. We do things like medical device design, um, industrial automation, a little bit of consumer products. So we cover a pretty broad array of things. We do electrical design, mechanical design, industrial design. So pretty broad array of things that we cover.
Now I know medical design is the main focus of Flying Pig Designs, it seems like. And the fact that you've been doing it for 10 years really does show that you've been able to make yourself stable here in the region of Denver, Colorado, and you're a pretty sizable group now. At like what, 10 people?
Yeah, we've got about 10 people. So roughly half of those are full time. Excuse me. The other ones are contractors, and that kind of varies a little bit. Sometimes will be more, sometimes will be less. Just kind of depends on the project load that we've got.
Okay. Okay. So, let me ask you, why flying pigs?
Well, so the name came around when I was talking to one of my engineering buddies. This was probably 15 years ago or so. We were working on a new idea for a surgical robot, and kind of made the comment, "Oh yeah, when pigs fly, yeah, right." And it just kind of stuck with me and started the name from there. And it's been the greatest marketing decision we made. So
It seems like you've had a lot of pigs fly, which is like, whoa, like that's like incredible. And when you say 15 years, me being a young engineer right out of school, right out of my graduate studies and whatnot, to be able to picture a name, to be able to have it grow from that point is incredible. And I would really like to spend a moment speaking about the beginning when you really want to get pigs to fly. Your ideas of getting products out there and these great ideas. And before you even had the shop, before you even had any equipment, what was what what were the challenges? What were the main hurdles? What was the fun parts? Please tell me what you got.
yeah, so that there's kind of a multi-part question there, I guess. So the hard parts really were just, and it's still kind of the same way, I guess, is just getting our name out there. So I started the company in a very small way. I did baby steps. So I had a software license of SolidWorks, and obviously I had some recognition in the industry, and just kind of leaned on my network pretty hard. That's really how I got my first couple of gigs. I just kind of concentrated on knocking it out of the park and really doing the best work that we possibly could. Um, that's really kind of how things got rolling, and just kind of concentrated on that for really the first couple of years. And then after that, it kind of took off pretty quick. Um, yeah, I don't think that answers your question.
Yeah, yeah, that did. So were you working at the time when you started Flying Pigs?
Yeah, I was working a full-time job, and actually, I had just come off of getting my master's as well as having our first kid and getting married and all that fun stuff. So it was pretty insane at the time. Um, and yeah, really just trying to figure out how to maintain some semblance of work-life balance. It's sort of a misnomer. There's 80-hour work weeks involved, so it's not a lot of sleep, working a lot of weekends, but it's paid off. So
That's a lot of work week right there. That
definitely.
that's a good amount. So So was was it always the plan to say I'm not, I'm leaving work to now do this work, or did it just happen naturally? Like, were you just starting a couple projects? Was there one or two, clients or groups that you were working with, and you're like, this is how we're gonna do it now, or like how that kind of
Yeah,
mature?
so a little bit of all the above, really. I mean, the some of the projects were really just kind of cut and dry, real small, straightforward kind of stuff. So I'd come home and work on those at night and knock them out. And a week or two later, they were all complete. There's other products that were a lot more kind of nebulous and free flowing and kind of blank napkin kind of stuff. And that was a little bit more, I guess, involved. Not so much in time, but just in what was involved with the design itself. So we had to kind of come up with a way of approaching something and a way of developing it. So we did, just as an example, we were working on a product that goes onto a bike. It's basically a bike bag. They didn't really know how it should look or how it should attach or anything like that, but we needed to come up with a way to do both of those things in such a way that wouldn't interfere with the bike, wouldn't block the user from doing what they needed to, but could still hold all the stuff that the customer wanted it to have.
Neat. Yeah. Yeah. So at that point, you probably did not envision that your main focus was only medical devices when you were doing these really neat industrial designs where people were sketching them on napkins and putting them forward, and you're like, this is kind of what I want to come up with, type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of went into it with, I guess blinders on to some extent. I didn't really have any expectations. I just was kind of looking for a little bit of extra work. So we ended up taking on kind of a wide range of stuff. Not a lot of medical device, not a lot of industrial design, not a lot of aerospace. It was pretty much consumer products. Um, but then pretty quickly, I think people latched on to the fact that I have a medical background. So they started giving us more and more medical products, and it's probably a good 80% of our business right now.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So from in the first beginning 5 years, what was it? Just a small group, like two or three people?
Yeah, so the first what was it, first 2 years were pretty much just me. I started off in my basement office, and within about 9 months, I think I had moved over to like a co-working space, and then started bringing in some contractors shortly after that, and that's kind of how it stayed for about another year or two, and then ended up growing pretty rapidly. Brought in some full-time folks, and was able to focus on building the business after that.
So like I always picture it. What is it like to buy your own first machine or like CNC machine? You're like, I had this big machine now. Like I really I can't picture that with a living space yet. How did that come about?
Yeah, so we got our first one shortly after moving to our second office space, and we're looking for so kind of the method that methodology that we use is to vertically integrate as much as we can. We want to have our engineers go into the shop or the lab and do any test, any prototype that they need to do. It saves our clients time to market, which is really our big focus, and it saves us money because we don't have to send out to third parties to do it. Um, so getting a mill and industrial grade 3D printers and all that sort of equipment in house as quickly as possible is pretty high on the list. So it was sort of painful looking for that first piece of big equipment that $60,000 mill is a big chunk of change to bite off the first time. But I mean, it's actually running in the next room right now. I don't know if you can hear it. It's been going pretty good since we got it. So it's been fun to be able to see parts come off of there and be able to roll those into products right away.
That's that's neat. That's like I'm just like picturing like what it would be like to have an open office and then here's the machine and then now it's rolling out parts. It's like it's
Yeah,
real then. It's like really happening.
yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, after a couple of years, you probably bought more machines. I know you're, you don't even have as many contractors as you have employees now, which is like, wow. Did you ever feel like you were filling up a space with a bunch of machines and you're like, where are we gonna put all these, like CNCs? Like,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, big time. So our last space, that co-working space I was talking about. So we started off there with about 600 square feet. Um, Blew out of that within about 6 months and ended up taking over another office within that same complex. So got it up to about 1,000 square feet. And then within about a year of that, we were bursting at the seams. We were joking about putting people up in the loft area and hanging desks from the ceiling and that kind of stuff. So we ended up looking for the place we're in now, which is about 4,000 square feet. We thought, oh, that'll give us a couple of years. And yeah, we're already full. So looking to take over some additional space and hopefully double our square footage here in the next year or two.
So most of your work right now is done here in Colorado?
Yep. All of our design work is done in Colorado. We try and get as much of our manufacturing done here as well. Some things just can't be done in Colorado. It's just the capability is not there. But so we'll tend to send those out. Sometimes California, Minnesota, places like that.
So all your manufacturing is US manufacturing right now.
We try to keep it all in the States if we can. Yeah. So there's not really an impetus, go US or anything like that. It's more of pure logistics. It's right now because of COVID and the way that the supply chain is working, it's just easier and cheaper to do it in the United States right now. You'll see a lot of companies that are starting to either near shore or bring everything completely back in the US. A lot of our clients that used to go to China are bringing their stuff back, and we've been working with them to bring things into either Mexico or Southern California, places like that, so that we can keep it here locally, don't have to worry about getting stuck in shipping or paying a huge excise tax or something like that.
Okay. Now, in those situations, do you ever have to travel out and probably on your own dime to get out there and like quote and go out there with like engineering drawings in hand and
Oh yeah, no, there's definitely travel involved. So especially in the medical world, it's pretty heavily regulated. Um, so you have to go to all of your vendors and qualify them, do audits, all of that. So we always have to go at least physically. We've done some kind of remote audits, over Zoom, that sort of thing. They're just not as effective. So we really have to go there in person. And kind of in parallel to that, our engineering staff will work with the manufacturer staff, send them drawings and 3D CAD files so that we can get things quoted and get production rolling.
neat. So now that you have a client base and you're here, you guys are working, do you feel like you have to run on out to present on flying pigs constantly anymore, or is that
Oh, 100%. Yep.
100%, 100%? So like
Yeah.
15 years in, yeah, okay. That's continuing. That always
Yeah, the
is kept.
pipeline is everything in contract design. So we are always looking for more projects. We've been very lucky in that most of our clients come back to us. We have about a 70-80% retention rate. So that means our clients who do a project with us come back to us for their second project. Um, then on top of that, because we're trying to grow and bring in new equipment and new talent, we have to be able to have the revenues to do that, which means we're going to be looking at new products, we're going to be looking at internal products, we're going to be looking at new clients. Right? The list goes on. So we have to get kind of creative, but we're always looking for growth and new sources of revenue.
Okay, great. Yeah. Could I ask a bit about what's on the horizon? Are you allowed to say like an early on, like is it going to be like robotic legs? Like what are you doing for medical devices next? Like what's like
Yeah, yeah.
what
Well,
what
yeah.
do you
So I
want
kind
to
of
be
answer that in two
exploring?
different ways.
Yeah.
So you've got kind of the internal stuff that FPD is doing, and then you've got industry-wide trends, which is sort of the macro scale view of that sort of stuff. So at least at Flying Pig, we're going to be looking at quite a few internal projects. We've got some robotics that's coming up, possibly a little bit of AI as well. We'll see. Stay tuned for that one. And then as far as the industry trends, things are changing pretty rapidly right now. So I think COVID and especially a lot of the home care that resulted from that has kind of spurred an entirely new segment of the medical device market. So you're going to see a lot more things starting to come into your house, a lot more remote care, a lot more telehealth kind of stuff. So I think there's going to be a pretty big push on that here once VC funds start flowing again, which they seem to be doing now. You're going to see a lot of companies in AI and med device that are going to start to get pretty big VC funds. So I'd expect there to be, robots and, um, medical specific Zoom and e-documents, things like that. They're going to be sent back and forth that weren't typically done before.
That sounds like a lot of work on the horizons.
For sure, it's going to be growing for a while. I think medical devices is going to be here for quite a while still.
Okay. Okay. Good. All right. Wow. That's a big spur. That's a lot of flying pigs right there.
Here's open.
Yeah. Yeah. So with that, for any young person who's a mechanical designer, and you could specialize into medical devices, you know, you've been able to keep going at a consistent rate and staying strong. What advice would you give a young engineer that's getting started?
Yeah, I mean the biggest thing I can say is just work hard and keep an open mind. You be a sponge. You want to be out there learning as much about everything that you possibly can, even if it's not necessarily design related. Some of the best ideas that I've done in my career came from completely different industries, and we were able to take that concept, synthesize it, and make it work for the product that we were working on. So just absorb everything you can, work hard at it.
Absorb, work hard, keep an open mind. All right. Over here, I'll keep the same attitude. I like that. That's awesome. Uh, so I'm gonna ask you questions finish this off here. Uh what do you think is the best way to make a product fly? Well, a pig product fly. To make your device fly.
My favorite answer, it depends. um, Kind of the two things we focus on is you need to know where you're going to go. So it's great to have a flight plan, but you need to know where you're going to land, right? Otherwise, you're going to be up in the air and you're going to crash. So we really focus on requirements development. We really focus on knowing the market and knowing what consumers are looking for before we really dive too deep into a product. And then after that, it's going to be looking pretty heavily at feasibility. So we're going to spend a lot of time on prototyping, breadboarding, things like that, so that everything is tested and functional. And then at that point, it's the quick run to manufacture.
Neat. Okay. Awesome. That's like I'm seeing this here. Like y'all seem motivated. You seem motivated. Everyone seems motivated. You're all working hard. That's like
Yeah,
everything. Yeah.
love what we do.
What we do. Yeah. Yeah. That's what it's all about. Yeah. Uh, Kier, thank you for being on today. Thank you for chatting with me. And
Yeah,
this was a pleasure.
yeah. No, thanks for having me. It's been good.